passing out $100 bills, and it kills and it thrills like the horns on my Silverado grill. And out by the bar, double round a crown, and everybody's getting down.
Yeah, Rich and I have had a heads-up match before. It was for almost no money on Poker Stars, but it's probably one of the most entertaining the CPMG's ever held. A lot of back and forth, lead changed about 6 or 7 times easy. Ended up winning that one, but I think I've got a pretty good line on how Rich plays. He definitely changes his style for heads-up, and to win this, I think I'm going to have to play a little bit more like he does, and I think I've got a slight advantage going into the day.
Alright, well I figure what I'm going to have to do is I've narrowed it down to 4 things. I'm going to need to hit full houses, quads, straight flushes, and then on top of that I'm going to need a little bit of luck. So that's really about it. No, actually, I'm going to play a straightforward game. I think Data's expecting me to, get creative and go crazy. I'm just going to sit back and play it straight. Back to basics.
Welcome aboard, everybody, to the Data versus Diablo heads-up match. Sitting to my left is the Meats.
How you doing, Eddie? Can't wait to see some good heads-up action today.
It's the Cyborg versus the Devil.
Each player's got a different style of play, and we'll see which one can use their style the best to get them a win.
All right, looks like we're going to see a flop on hand 1.
And blinds at 50 and 100. We'll take on a flop here. And Diablo catches top pair with an 8.
And oops.
He's going to bet it.
A little technical difficulty there. Looks like I hit the wrong button.
He bets 200 and is called. And it heads up, when you make a pair, you usually think that you're good. Data called. He might actually think his king high was good on the flop. Check, check. Well, actually, Data
fires it out.
He might actually think his king high is good, like I said. And Diablo calls. Data knows now that he's probably not good with his king high. Diablo checks, and Data's going to fire another bull. It looks like he probably knows he has to bet to win.
And it looks like 750 from the Cyborg.
Nothing really out there unless Diablo missed a draw, and Diablo's going to win when he calls with his 8. So, in heads up, that's a great play. You think you have the best hand with top pair. You don't want to get too deep into a pot. We've talked about it on podcasts. You just sort of control the pot size, check call, check call.
So he wasn't worried about the overcard there, huh?
No, if Data called him with a jack, so be it.
All right, looks like we're going to see another flop here.
King 5 off against 8 deuce.
Yeah, looks like Data spiked his king.
You
got two pair. Two pair, even better.
Diablo's all but drawing dead. Running spades, and he just gives it up. With the blinds the way they are, it'll be interesting to see if they're just content to, chop wood, so to speak, and try to, play small ball. Or if they'll be looking to end it quick.
2 different ways. There's a lot of different styles you can use heads up.
Yeah.
And we'll see what type of style they like to try here. We're on hand 6 here.
In the lower right-hand corner, you'll see the the hand numbers as they pop up. We got pocket 9s for Data.
It's a monster hand heads up.
Jack 6 for Diablo, and he's just going to fold to the raise.
Data raises it up and takes it down. Pretty good raise there. He's out of position. I don't think he wants to try seeing a flop with a pair of 9s.
Middle pocket pairs are really tough to play in a heads-up game because, if you're playing a full ring and it comes with a queen, sometimes you're not usually playing queen rag to a raise, but in a heads-up, queen 7, queen 6 sometimes is a callable hand.
We got our celebrity dealer there, Doug Poker.
The button didn't move after the last hand. There he goes.
There you go. Doug's on it. Oh, now they're confused at the button.
There you go.
There we go.
Data is the button. With Jack 8, it's a playable hand heads up. Ace 4, very playable. Ace, usually the favorite over a random hand.
Raises up and pushes Data right off.
I probably would have played the Jack 8 there. Especially with the button.
You had position. You get that luxury of acting after your opponent acts.
Yeah. And so now they give the button back.
See, Diablo's got a little bag of chips off to the side there. A little snack action.
So Data's the button again here, and let's see what we got. Jack 8 again for Data, and he's going to raise to 250. Diablo with King Deuce, another sort of a loose call, but in heads up, certainly acceptable.
think he's just playing that king.
And Data misses.
And I believe he's going to fire out here. And he fires out and makes Diablo fold.
From position, you've raised. The player checks. Betting is a pretty standard play there.
Standard continuation play.
And heads up, the way to get a lot of chips in heads up sometimes you got to trap. You've got to be willing to accept an outdraw to try to trap somebody for some money.
Yeah, you don't want to blow people off your hands a lot of times in heads up.
You want to let players bluff with nothing if you have something too.
Yeah, looks like I hit the wrong button again as it zeroes in on the flop that isn't there.
Data's got Queen 7 suited.
Okay.
Diablo calls the blind, and Data makes it 4.
400 with Queen 7. There's 3-6.
3-6.
That's from position. That's a little loosey-goosey there.
Well, early in this match, with the structure that they chose,
there is a lot of play left.
He's playing his button probably rather than playing his cards. And
Data
leads
out
the
and takes
flop
it down.
and takes down another pot. So yeah, when you're playing heads up, a lot of times you're not going to make hands, and it's just who's betting.
The power of betting.
Eventually, I think once they get a feel, you'll start to see some raises with nothing. Things like that. Here's an interesting hand where both players have pretty good heads-up hands.
That's well, ace 2, but he's got the ace. Ace is pretty big in heads
Ace
up.
is usually a favorite over a random hand.
There's a deuce, and oof, he spiked 2 pair, top 2.
Data's got a gut shot, though.
Interesting to see how he plays
$500
it.
in the pot.
And looks like
Data's going to lead with his gut shot, hoping that Rich has missed. But
Rich comes back over the top.
Rich comes over the top with a little raise to 800, and Data's going to call. This is probably a good call, the gut shot. You hit your queen, you're probably going to get some money if they have an ace.
All right, got a 7 actions on Data.
That's the situation where if I was Data, I might want to check raise.
He checked it down. He's got the first part right. That's a $1,200 bet, and down he goes.
Knowing that Rich had 2 pair, a check raise probably wouldn't have worked, but I might try to throw a check raise out there, see if I can't pick up the pot with nothing. Sort of like
Obviously,
a semi-bluff.
Obviously, the turn card at 7 was a blank. I don't think it was even complete.
Well, it completed
much.
a flush draw.
Yes, it did.
And if I'm sitting there with ace-king and I get check raised, and there's a lot of cards out there that are going to beat me at this point.
This is true.
Having 2 pair, that's different.
Diablo with his 7-9 on the button, first act, and he is going to raise it up.
250, pretty standard raise, it seems like.
Data wants to look him up with his ace.
$500 pot again. And the flop comes down, check to Diablo. Diablo's got a pair of 7s.
And Diablo, we're going to see some fireworks here. They both got a pair.
I said earlier, a pair is usually a good card in heads up.
And Data,
So now Data
700.
leads on the scare card.
Interesting decision for, and he's going to pull. He's going to fold it down.
Yeah, Data didn't have the best hand, but you'll see sometimes in heads up, being out of position can be good because you're the first one to bet at a pot.
You can definitely take down some nice pots there.
You can see both players just trying to sort of feel themselves out. We're only on hand 17. I would have liked to have seen Diablo maybe throw a small raise out there and see what happens. Try to win some pots without cards.
All right, actions on Data. He looks down. 5-7. He's gapped. I like the gapped pairs like that. The little gap cards.
Limping in, giving Jack Deuce a free flop. And the
he
Deuce has outflopped him here.
And he checks.
So we'll see a turn.
And Data checks.
So now Data's got a gut shot.
He checks twice with the 2.
Data's got a bet here. I think Rich should probably call, and he does.
Rich was looking like he was going to fold.
I think he might have an inkling that his Deuce is good.
He checks it
checks.
down.
I think if Data bets, he's going to get called. And Data just checks behind, and the Deuce is good. And heads up, if you see a player that is going to just call you with a small pair, then you sort of have to start making plays. If you check the flop and then one time with a hand, and then get them to lose some money, and they're going to slow up on their check calls with any pair. You got to do something to slow down their passive, loose passive play.
It's been pretty much like a heavyweight fight so far. A lot of little sparring going on. No roundhouses here.
Each player's trying to establish their jab.
Data looks down with
Ace 4 suited. That's a great hand heads up. And Queen 8 for Diablo. And we're going to go to the flop with 500 in the pot. Once again, Diablo is outflop Data here with a bottom pair.
Wolf, he comes back.
Data catches up. This is the problem with checking on the flop. If you're going to play your Queen 8, you've got to bet when you hit.
So he gave Data a free chance at.
Now, see what we said before. Data checked the flop, and Rich isn't sure he hit the ace. Now that doesn't help Diablo either, because if he didn't have an ace before, it's even less likely he has one.
And the flush has been completed.
So he checks, and Data bets again. If he didn't believe him on the turn, nothing's really changed. And he calls.
Looks him up.
Data shows ace 4.
He shows him the bad news.
You can see Diablo's expression there. He's probably upset he didn't bet the flop. He would have won. But when you don't think somebody has a pair, and then the same card pairs on the river or the turn, if you have that card, it's more likely that you're going to get paid off.
Right.
That's why you've got to bet. You don't want to slow play.